Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I want you to get ready to be uncomfortable, because what I'm about to read to you should make you uncomfortable, but it should also make you extremely excited, because what I'm about to read to you, I agree with, and I think it's written by one of the smarter people who has been in the XRP community, Hodor. Now, Hodor, for those of you that are not familiar, he no longer writes blogs. He used to have a blog where he was actively writing blogs for the XRP community. He has gone on, my understanding is he's gone on to do development work. But what I'm going to read you is from one of his blogs from January 23rd of 2018, around 2 years ago. And what he wrote here, I don't know that many of you have ever heard this before, but the section that I'm starting in is literally titled, Get Ready to Be Uncomfortable. And what he is talking about here is where Ripple is going and where the price of XRP is going. Just because we've been through a two-year bear market does not mean that we're not headed to these places. I think that Hodor was 1,000% right when he wrote this, and I think he's 10,000% right now. And the reason that I wanted to show this particular thing and go over this is because recently on CNBC, the world was shocked when they announced that Ripple had a $10 billion valuation. And the truth of the matter is, yeah, they were shocked, but it's really peanuts compared to where all this is going. And as I've said 1,000 times, it's not a coincidence that Ripple is getting in the door with all of these mega banks and central banks. I don't care who you are, you've never seen any company, public or private, in your lifetime make their way in and have inroads into the type of people that Ripple has. You've never seen it before, you're not going to see it again. And so now I want to read for you what Hodor said on January 23rd of 2018, okay? 2 years ago. And 2 years ago in this space is really not that long, folks. But he hit the grand slam in this, and you need to hear it. So here we go. Get ready to be uncomfortable. Before we continue with our conversation about Ripple, it's important to understand history a bit. The world has actually seen companies that are many times the size of Google or Apple. Don't believe me? Depending on how much you paid attention in history class, you may or may not be familiar with the following names. Dutch East India Company, 7.9 trillion. Mississippi Company, 6.5 trillion. These are companies from a long time ago. South Sea Company, 4.3 trillion. Saudi Aramco, 4.1 trillion. I'm not sure if you can see the small print, but here are the valuations of those historical companies. And then he goes over those numbers I just read to you. The numbers are adjusted for inflation. It's the value that these companies would have been measured at using current value equivalents. These companies were granted monopolistic dispensations for a certain period of history, for better or for worse. Eventually, monopolies are typically broken into smaller companies or divisions as history progresses. Circle back to Ripple. Ripple will be the most valuable company. Folks, this is Hodor saying this. This is not me saying it, but I agree with what he's saying. Ripple will be the most valuable company on the planet Earth if XRP adoption continues. I predict that it will happen this year, 2018. Now, Hodor, like many people, the problem with any kind of thing like this is timing. Nobody really knows the timing. All you can do is guess towards the timing. But what's important for you to get out of what he's saying here is the summary of what he's saying, because he is on it. Okay, Ripple will be the most valuable company on planet Earth if XRP adoption continues. Then he says he predicts 2018. The reason why is because XRapid, which is now on-demand liquidity, XRapid adoption has now started in earnest. And this is the one software solution of Ripple's that utilizes XRP. I've already described the reasons why XRP will be adopted by banks, financial institutions, and other companies in previous blogs. But suffice it to say that XRP is gaining traction very quickly. Even though 55 billion XRP is locked away in a rolling escrow, Ripple still technically has custody of that XRP, and it will be used to measure the company's valuation. Fast forward to the other day, we saw $10 billion valuation on CNBC. Now I'm picking back up with his article. It says the big number. I know what you're wondering because I wondered the same thing. At what XRP price point will Ripple be worth $1 trillion? The XRP price is $17, 17 USD. And then he says, how will the world view Ripple? Just so you're mentally and emotionally prepared for it. The price won't stop at $17. It will keep going past this artificial construct that makes people uncomfortable. While most crypto analysts have given maximum price points of XRP at somewhere between $5 and $50, there are some very insightful analysts who place their upper estimates at well over $100. Those XRP prices, while perhaps seeming steep to some onlookers, would put Ripple at about the same size as some of the historical trading company monopolies. The world doesn't like monopolies. While the world doesn't like monopolies, keep in mind that Ripple is not a pure monopoly. While they own 60% of the world's XRP, the other 40% is owned by you, me, and anybody else that can open an account on Bitstamp or Coinbase. Even if Ripple were to disappear tomorrow, we'd still have enough XRP to fuel the international commerce for many years to come. Each one can be split into 1 million units, lest you forget. Regardless of whether or not it has a monopoly, many people might be uncomfortable with a company whose valuation is measured in trillions. Don't worry, and this is an interesting part right here. Don't worry, Ripple is quite cognizant of possible market capitalization numbers along with the public relations challenges that will go with it. If you ask me, they are a company built by mostly engineers and Silicon Valley pioneers. These people know how to do the math, and they've seen it. They've seen how disruptive massive companies can transform the world in unexpected ways. Think Facebook and Twitter. Their plan is not to just sit on their XRP and watch as their valuation skyrockets past the valuation of the East India Company. The purpose of XRP is to fuel economic commerce across borders. The escrow arrangement ensures that 1 billion XRP are freed each month from Ripple to sell to others, including banks and financial institutions, as well as other large international corporations. My prediction is that while Ripple may not anticipate selling or otherwise using all 1 billion XRP that is freed up each month, that will change quickly in 2018 as demand from XRapid use starts to accelerate. Remember, XRP's core purpose is to replace Nostro account holdings in various corridors throughout the world. This means that companies will be knocking on Ripple's door as the year progresses. Be prepared for stranger things. The world was first introduced to cryptocurrency in 2008 with the creation of Bitcoin. Since then, it's been slowly getting accustomed to the idea of an international currency that treats the borders of countries as an insubstantial piece of metadata that has nothing to do with its own existence. And now we have XRP. So that right there should fascinate you all. And I hope it did make you uncomfortable, because I believe the world is going to be uncomfortable for a while as they realize that you and I were right. Okay, I wanted to tell Evan Schwartz, congratulations for doing well at Ripple, and he's leaving now after 2,328 days, or just under. Let me drop this, and just under 6.5 years today is my last day at Ripple. Thank you to everyone who helped make it such an exciting ride. I'll be cheering the team on from the outside. Keep on building. So we had Dilip Rao leave about a few weeks ago. Now we've got Evan Schwartz leaving. It makes you wonder if mission has been accomplished and everybody's ready for takeoff. Because right after Dilip Rao left, Ripple started pounding out for the new year the most optimistic things I've seen them send out. So great work, Evan Schwartz, and and good luck in everything that you do going forward. Next, from XRP Darren, Identity and R3 to launch global multi-bank ISO 20022 CoreDApp trial across R3's global ecosystem, which includes more than 300 banks and other financial sector participants. And then we've got this from Zero Hedge. Bitcoin at $1 million by 2020 is not out of the question, says James Altucher, off by just $993,000. Now, let me see when this article is from. This was from June of 2019, and they're showing how he said that Bitcoin would be at this price by this, or could easily be at this price by 2020. Yeah, you're going to have some people are going to be made fun of for the predictions. Then Panda Ripple XRP at Ripple Panda XRP sent this, didn't send me this, I just saw the tweet. Just look at the transaction count growth, 81% increase. And he's tweeting this out. Cryptocurrencies transaction count growth from January 2019. XRP, look how much it has grown in transaction growth versus Bitcoin and Ethereum. Just killing it. And what that's called, my friends, is real use case, utility. And that's why it has grown like that. AdX Lighting the Way sent me this one. And this is from Lisa Abramowicz. Private equity firms have nearly doubled the amount of unspent capital they have on hand in the past 3 years to $1.5 trillion at year end. That's Preqin data. Now, we covered the other day about how Warren Buffett was sitting on the sidelines with a bunch of cash. Typically, the people with the big money, the mega wealthy, if they're sitting on the sidelines with cash, that usually means they're expecting to be able to buy things on the cheap. And why would they be expecting to buy things on the cheap? Because the economy has been going and the stock market's been going crazy for way too long based on nothing but money printing and you know what, QE, this, that. So it's not a coincidence that all this money is sitting on the sidelines. These guys know how to make money, and you make money by buying when the people are hitting the exits and the panic is in motion. And I think they smell panic on the way. Michelle Vandenberg sent me this. India's Central Payments Org unveils blockchain platform. Let's look at this. National Payments Corporation of India has unveiled an enterprise blockchain platform called Vahara to automate payment clearing and settlement of transactions. NCPI is an umbrella body for operating retail payments and settlement systems in India. The organization was set up by the Reserve Bank of India and the Indian Banks Association. Now, if you look down here, they mention it says a job advertisement last May stated that 3 proofs of concept would be implemented on HyperLedger Fabric, R3's Corda. This has got Ripple and XRP written all over it, folks. All right. And then Peter Schiff tweeted this out. The dollar is going to fall through the floor. That means gold prices are going to go through the roof. And he's got a video here. This is from his feed. And I don't disagree with Peter Schiff, but one area where he's wrong is when he ignores Bitcoin and digital assets. The Fed's not QE and the $33 trillion stock market in 3 charts, Zero Hedge. The past decade shown Fed creates trillions of dollars out of thin air, QE, U.S. stocks rise. The nearly invisible thin red line is 60 billion in relation to 33 trillion. I didn't go and look at these. I don't usually go to Zero Hedge because it's got so heavily weighted with ads on this thing. Let's see, this square is 1 trillion. U.S. stock market, 33 trillion. And they all know it's just from QE and money printing. I mean, that's the crazy part. Okay. And then crypto utility guy, IMF urges Philippine Central Bank to collect crypto exchange data. And what they're talking about is they're talking about how the Philippines may become an important market for crypto assets as the BSP recently authorized operations. Well, the IMF seems to be really concerned about this. Given this growing number, the IMF mission encouraged the central bank to start exploring the possibility of collecting data on these crypto exchanges for its macro and economic analysis. It says that the data should indicate both the country of origin, destination of the funds, transaction. It noted, and would be most useful if it were broken down to reveal the parties involved in the transactions between individuals, financial and non-financial corporations. In other words, you should get everything in place so that you can make people pay taxes on all these transactions and the money that's being made in crypto. That is what this is about. I'm right now, I forgot to tell my audience, the Jerian Twins that are on CNBC. When I was in Las Vegas, one of them, I can't remember which one, they're the twins that have ponytails. But when I was in Las Vegas, and I forgot all about this, one of them was sitting in the lobby, and I walked up to him and introduced myself and shook his hand. He was a nice guy, but I just saw him on TV, and I was like, I met that guy. Anyway, okay, and I want to finish with this. Stop worrying about what can go wrong and get excited about what can go right. That's the way I live my life. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button and tell your friends and family to stop worrying about what can go wrong and get excited about what can go right. Thank you for listening.